What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another David Rams live stream. I hope you're all doing very well today. We've got an interesting one today. We're going to get into a video that I saw where on GB News, where they had a PETA activist on there on GB News, right? And she was sort of debating a butcher about Christmas turkeys. And the whole debate, the whole segment, you will never believe how it went. I'm telling you, you will be shocked at how this whole thing went. That's why I'm covering it. I watched it and I was like, wow. Paused it about halfway through and said, gonna stop there because we need to watch this together because this is crazy, right? So we're gonna be taking a look at this crazy debate, this crazy segment that went out. And after that, we're gonna have a look at a couple other videos too. We're gonna take a look at, let me show you here, actually, what we're gonna have a little look at. So a couple of these things, we might get through all of them, right? So we're going to take a look at, this is the video, where is it gone? There you go. Kill the tradition, not the turkey. Should we save the turkeys this Christmas? We're going to look at that. That's the first one that you're going to be very surprised about. So we're going to have a look at that one first. Then we'll take a look at this one with Talk TV. Why can't they eat meat? Which is, it looks like it's fiery. I've watched a bit of it. It looks very silly. Some meat flakery there. We're going to take a look at Kip Anderson from Christspiracy, the new animal rights and religion documentary. He actually went on to GB News as well, so that's interesting. Lots of news stories this week. And if we get time, we will also take a look at this guy here, this Anthony Brian Logan, who did a reaction to this video, actually. And he's a super anti-vegan. It comes out with some of the most baseless nonsense, right? If we have time. And potentially this one by Earthling Ed as well. So we got a lot of stuff to potentially have a look at today. We'll see how we get through it, and we'll see how we feel. We'll see if we've got the energy, right? Because it's Sunday. People are chill on Sundays, you know. I've got to make sure you guys are up for all this. So throw me some broccolis in right now. Give me some broccolis in the chat if you're feeling ready for a little bit of a mid-length, potentially long stream. As always, guys, if you've got stuff you want me to have a look at urgently, or a comment you want me to see, best way you can guarantee that I see it is by using the Streamlabs tip link, which is right there in the pinned comment, or by using the super chat. And obviously, of course, you're also supporting the channel when you do that. So huge, big win-win for everybody when you guys do that. And who have we got here so far? Demetrios, what's up, mate? How's it going? Animals here with us, not for us. How is it going? Floris is here. Hey, mate. How you doing, mate? Floris. Mehmet is here. What's up, bro? Mark. Guys, how are you all doing? Sharon's here. Good stuff. Hope you're all doing really well today. And Christmas is coming, guys. So it's good that we're going to get into this video here because this is very relevant for Christmas, especially Christmas dinner. And as I said, I don't want to oversell it too much. I don't want to get you hyped up too much, but I feel like I can because this video is just not what you expect at all. Right from the off, you will never expect how this one goes, right? I mean, I guess in the title of my video, what did I title it? Let me just remind myself. Vegan Strikes Guilt in Butcher's Heart. All right, fine. Maybe you will guess. Maybe you will get it how it's going to be because the title gives it a bit away a little bit. But you're never gonna expect exactly how it goes. It is very interesting. So, tell you what, let's jump in then. Let's get into our first video of today's live stream. Kill the tradition, not the turkey. Should we save the turkeys this Christmas? Unfortunately, only a couple thousand views, but it probably got a lot more when it aired live, so at least there's that. And it's with Molly Eldson from PETA and a butcher called Jamie Cooper, right? And by the way, just a little tidbit for you, a little factoid for you. Molly came to one of my workshops many years ago, many moons ago. I did a workshop and she came to it. And she told Annie that workshop inspired her to get more involved in activism and ultimately led to this moment, which I think is just really cool. Right? I just want to, put that out there before we get in, because I think that is, wow, what do you call it when things come back around, and it's like, wow, what an amazing turnaround that is, right? So yeah, let's dive in then and see how this whole thing went.
Now, the whole turkey situation at Christmas, it is a moral dilemma. It is. I mean, you're basically breeding birds, you're breeding animals just to wring their necks, kill them.
Why is it a dilemma just at Christmas? People eat meat all year round, not just at Christmas.
It is, but I mean, why do you have to have a turkey at Christmas?
Now, I told you never expect that, right? Did any of you expect the host on GB News to say that? we need to listen to it again, right? That is mind-blowing that he opened up with that. And this guy's not vegan, by the way.
Now, the whole turkey situation at Christmas, it is a moral dilemma.
Moral dilemma. The whole turkey situation at Christmas is a moral dilemma. Again, this is a guy who isn't vegan. This is not vegan propaganda. This is not some, he is a meat eater who has clearly been thinking about this for more than 5 seconds, because this is what you sound like. When you put some thought into what you do on a daily basis, you start to realize these things and start to realize, wow, wait a minute. I am paying for these horrors, and I don't think about it usually. He has been thinking about it.
I mean, you're basically breeding birds, you're breeding animals just to wring their necks, kill them.
Why is it a dilemma just at Christmas?
You're breeding animals just to wring their necks and kill them. How amazing is that he's made that realization? Currently as a non-vegan, but absolutely he's on his way to becoming a vegan, isn't he? And what she says, why just at Christmas is a problem? This happens every day. She's absolutely right too. They're both right. What an amazing start, because yeah, of course, it's every day this happens, and it's always a moral dilemma, not just at Christmas. But of course, the segment's about turkeys at Christmas, so they have to focus on Christmas. But have you ever seen, never mind, this is GB News, right? This is a right-wing media channel. Have you ever seen any mainstream media say something along these lines? The host, that is, not a guest, the host. Very, very rare, and you would never imagine you'd see this from a right-wing station, right?
People eat meat all year round, not just
Well,
at Christmas.
it is, but I mean, why do you have to have a turkey at Christmas?
Because they're bigger, and you tend to have a bigger group around your table.
That's wow. Yeah, I'm sure that's the reason. Yeah, it's not just a silly, mindless tradition that everybody does just because it's the done thing. There's some logic in there, right? You can just make more of other food, right? You can make more plant-based food. It's not like it's impossible just to make more plant-based food as opposed to killing a turkey and then eating that instead, right? She kind of says it as if it's that alone is a perfect logical reason to do it. Like, no, there's still many other options of what you could eat for a large group of people, okay?
Anyway.
Well, if it was up to animal rights group PETA, they have already banned the idea of turkeys. So we've got their advert here, and this is to make you think twice about turkey, buying it, rearing turkeys, and then wringing their necks. Here we go.
He keeps saying that. You hear that to make you feel bad about wringing their necks. And he's usually the hosts of shows, especially actually right-wing shows, usually they avoid the ethical and the moral side of things, and they just focus on diet and stuff and the tradition, the culture. But he's actually being very specific about what happens. And I don't actually, I don't want to criticize him here, but as far as I know, I don't think they're wringing their necks. I think they're actually slitting their throats. But hey, still, the fact that he's willing to go that extra yard and actually say what they're doing to turkeys, like that they are killing them with their, not just they're being dispatched or they're being produced or they're being prepared. No, they're being killed. He's very specific on that, which I appreciate. So this ad here, this is an ad from PETA that they put out, and I'll warn you, it's a bit cringe. It's the ad, I find it to be a little bit cringy, definitely very PETA, all right? But we'll watch the ad with them, and then we'll get into the debate between Molly from PETA and this butcher. Here
we go.
With boughs of holly, fa la 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 la. Trees indoors, how very jolly, fa la 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 la. Some traditions sure are weird, fa la 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 la.
I appreciate the animation, by the way. I just the singing goes right through me. It's like nails on chalkboard to me. But anyway, the message is the important part of this, and you'll see the message soon.
Letters sent to men with beards, fa la 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 la. Bonnie sprigs help you to get kissed, fa la 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 la, mwah, mwah, mwah. Elves decide who's on the good list, fa la 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 la, ah 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 ah. Does it need setting up list, fa la 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 la. How did that become a craze? Of goodwill's the motto. La 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 la. You're not Santa. What's this grotto? What's the fate that now awaits me? A tradition of such cruelty.
It's pretty hardcore, huh? That ending is definitely hardcore. And no, I think overall, my take on that ad, I've not spoken about this yet. I was going to include it in last week's Face to Facts Friday, or whenever it was 2 weeks ago, but decided to do this standalone video with this whole thing instead. But I think PETA's done a pretty good job on that. And you'll see what kind of job they've done as we go now and see their reactions. Because as vegans, we're a little biased, right? Because we have our own opinions on how things should be done. But what's more important is how meat eaters see this ad and how it makes them feel. You'll be very surprised about how this butcher reacts to this.
Oh dear.
Kill the tradition, not the turkey.
Turkey. Oh, well.
Well, I'm out. I mean, that's done it for me.
We're cancelling that order of breakfast. So. We're asking.
So there was a stunned silence at the end. You see, it was kind of uncomfortable for them. There was a lot of space there, a lot of giving it room to breathe. They didn't mock it. So clearly, as cringe as I think it was, I can't handle the singing. That's me. I'm just a bit weird with singing sometimes and the accents and stuff. But hey, it worked with these guys, right? They felt it. They really felt the message. And that is so important. And I think when you take animals and you put them into a cartoon and you actually, because when we see them in real life, they have personalities, but it's not right there on the surface. It's kind of like, to be honest with you, it's kind of like, I'll give you an example. So my youngest brother, he has learning difficulties and he has autism, right? And he used to go to these, like a special school. And in this special school, there were a lot of kids who were a lot more severe than him in terms of the things that they had going on and mentally and physically. And I would sometimes look at them and I'd think, you can't read them because they're not the same as the rest of us. And some of them are severely physically disabled as well. So they can't show you body language, they can't talk, and you would assume there's no personality there. You would assume that there's not much going on. But in reality, you spend a bit more time with them and then you start to see the thing where the personality is and the things that they can do. They show you the personality through those things. But at first glance, you would never pick up on it because you can't. You need to spend time there. You need to stay with them and understand their little movements and what they mean. And they're actually, a smile for them is very different to a smile for you, right? It's not as obvious. You need to look out for these tiny little, and I think that's the same with animals too. When you first just glimpse at an animal like a turkey, you're not going to see a person in there. You're not going to see a personality. You're not going to understand them. You're not going to empathize with them necessarily because as a meat eater anyway, because they don't empathize with animals quite like vegans. But anyway, the point being, you spend a bit more time with a turkey, you start watching them, especially stay with one of them, right? When they're in a group of 20, it's difficult to really, it's like a group of people. You can't figure out who's who, what's what. But if you can focus on one individual animal, one individual turkey, watch them for an hour or so, be with them, you start to see they do have little quips, little quirks, little personalities. Now, what this cartoon has done is brought that personality up to the forefront. It's given the turkey a human voice and a human language, and it's brought a fully bodied personality right out there, which people would normally think that an animal doesn't have. They do have it. It's just, like I said, you got to spend some hours with them, right? So now this cartoon brings it to the surface, and that's why I think it has the emotional impact it has, because people just don't see them that way. But they are this way. They're not, obviously, they don't sing and they don't speak English, but they have a personality just as vibrant as that cartoon. It's just in a very, very different way. It's in a turkey way, or it's in a cow way, or in a pig way, and it's not a human way. And that doesn't make them any worth less. It doesn't make them less worthy of not being stabbed, right? So let's see where they go from here. Let's see the other reactions to this animation.
You at home, does tradition mean nothing, or is a turkeyless Christmas the way to go? We've got the PETA campaigner Molly Eldson and the butcher Jamie Cooper here to debate it live on the programme. And we have to go to you first of all, because we've heard what PETA think, Jamie. It doesn't have to be the way it's portrayed in the advert there, does it? A horrible, terrifying death for a turkey. Presumably, you could have more humane and lovely meat at your butcher's.
How would you kill them?
Just a quick shot. I don't know.
Listen to that. This guy's name is Eamon Holmes, by the way, and what a question. He is the activist here. He is the vegan. He is the one that's pushing her on her BS. She says, yeah, it can be humane, can't it? It can be fine, can't it? And he's like, how would you kill them? How would you kill them? Oh, a quick shot to the head. And he doesn't say anything after that, because we all know that's still violent. We're all very aware that shooting someone in the head is not humane, unless, of course, they are begging you to shoot them in the head because they are in suffering and dying or whatever, you know, euthanasia, right? But aside from that, shooting any healthy animal or human in the head is never going to be classed humane. It is an act of violence. Eamon knows that. And then she says that, and he just looks at the camera and goes, because he knows. He's made this connection. I don't know who's been speaking to. I don't know who's helped him have this click, but it is fantastic to see someone in his position making these connections and not being so cold-hearted like so many people are, especially on these TV shows like your Piers Morgans and these others, you know. But here he is. He's wearing his heart on his sleeve, and he's saying, hey, no, I don't think this is right. I've made that connection, and you are making excuses, and we need to stop doing that. And you'll see it gets even as if it could get any better than this. We haven't even got into the debate yet, but this video continues to shock me, and that's why I'm showing it you guys. It gets even better.
Jamie?
Well, just a quick shot doesn't really cut it.
Okay.
Sadly, but there's debates over the years gone on for a long time about how things are killed for us to consume. Now, there are places doing a good job, there's places doing a bad job, but independent butchers like ourselves, we always make sure we buy the best, not just quality, but humane ways of animals being treated.
Have you noticed how difficult he's finding this? You see at the beginning, I understand he's under pressure because he's on TV, right? So let's just give him that. It could just be that. But to me, he seems incredibly uncomfortable. For somebody who owns a business, literally chopping up dead animals, buying them, chopping them up, he seems incredibly uncomfortable talking about the thing that he's devoted his entire life to. That's not so common, is it? I mean, I don't know. If someone asks me what I do, I feel like I've been doing it for long enough now to be able to tell you pretty confidently what I do, whether it's on camera or not. He's struggling here. He's breaking. When we kill things, he said, when we kill things, why can't you say it? And how uncomfortable he is when he's talking about the killing itself. This really surprised me. Usually these people come on from the industry and they're just saying, yeah, these vegans are silly. But he's saying, no, I acknowledge there's been debates happening. We're trying to do our best. He's on the back foot immediately. And I feel here, there's some guilt here coming from him.
For the industry. I honestly haven't seen this video. This is the first time I've watched that video that you just played, and my heart's ticking. I'm absolutely distraught.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? The sound's not so good on his side, right? Let me repeat what he said. This is the first time I've seen that video. I think he said my heart's beating or my heart's aching. It was one of the two. I'm absolutely distraught. This is a butcher who buys and trades in dead animals, right? And meat and all the top. I'm sure they deal in dairy as well and eggs. He's just said he's distraught, and it's got to his heart, this animation. Now, I don't know about you guys, but that to me, I never in a million years would expect a butcher to say that on national TV, right? PETA, fair play. You have knocked it out of the park with that animation. That is amazing that you've been able to reach the heart of a butcher, of all people. To amazing. So this guy, to me, at this point, I mean, him and Eamon seem to be on the road to changing. This guy's could be on the road to change his entire business, to change his life, just by this comment here. If he continues to actually be open the same way he's been open now, who knows what could happen?
It actually said stop tradition. Sure it did.
Yeah.
Look he's struggling. You see that? And they don't know what to do. See, now the hosts, not Eamon, obviously. Eamon on the right there, he is on board with this, but the lady, she probably wants a debate to go off here, but the butcher's actually on the same side as PETA. Who would have expected that? I never would have expected that. the butcher is pretty much siding with PETA. On GB News, a right-wing news station. This is groundbreaking. Just never would have imagined this.
Okay, this could be the ruination, Molly, of many people's Christmas. I mean, there is tradition that goes with this.
The tradition thing for me, as I said prior yesterday when I was talking to one of your team, you know, hundreds and hundreds of years. I mean, we go through a lot of things in the year. Everyone goes through losses and heartfelt things, families. But one thing, as we come together at Christmas and get that nice turkey on the table, we remember the smell, the lights, the music. You know, tradition isn't just about presents and everything. It's actually about the turkey for a lot of families.
Okay. Well, let Molly answer. Let Molly reply to that. Right, Molly.
And that as well. I really enjoy Eamon intervening here and allowing Molly from PETA to say some words. Just about his tradition thing, by the way. It's funny. The tradition, I agree with him in that tradition's important. And I think it's really important tradition. But the tradition of Christmas isn't turkey. The tradition of Christmas is coming together and spending time with one another and sharing values and sharing time and sharing love and you know, and affection. And the presents are the presents. Doesn't need to be expensive. It's the thought, and it's supposed to be a time of giving. And this is what it means. So what's being eaten? Sure, someone could call that traditional or part of the tradition, but that's not the most important part, is it? So, yeah, there's still the possibility people can still sit around and have a meal together and enjoy all those things that they come together for without a dead bird in the middle. And I'm sure the butcher knows that. I'm sure he's not. He seems to be switched on, and I'm sure he knows that it is possible to have all of the good things about Christmas without killing animals.
Well, tradition really isn't an excuse for cruelty. Nowadays in the supermarkets, we've got so many vegan options, from vegan turkey, vegan pigs in blankets. You can even get vegan goose fat for your roast potatoes. There are just so many options.
I didn't know that, vegan goose fat for roast potatoes. I still haven't seen that. So if somebody from the UK knows where we could find that, vegan goose fat, please tell me, because I need to see what the hell that is, what that looks like. And if it makes the potatoes look as much better, that sounds wild to me. Hey, go on, play.
You can even get vegan goose fat for your roast potatoes. There are just so many options. And this means that we can enjoy all of the taste and all of the nostalgia associated with the Christmas dinners, just without any of the cruelty. You know, turkeys are individuals. They form loving family bonds just like we do, and they deserve some peace this Christmas as well.
Molly,
so I think
I was watching a programme.
That was a fantastic little segment there from Molly, an amazing soundbite. And this is what's important. She nailed the points really well and highlighted what's important and what isn't important. And even highlighted, even if you find the food to be of the most importance, you can still have all of the similar flavors and textures without the cruelty and the animal killing, which is obviously fantastic, right? So I'm going to take it back a minute so we can hear what Eamon had to say there, just after Molly.
Like we do, and they deserve some peace this Christmas as well.
Molly, I was watching a programme this week about what would you call it? What do you call an aquarium place in Plymouth, right? And it was on the telly one evening this week, and I didn't realise that lobsters have intelligence, and that stingray fish have intelligence. They can talk, and if you play with them, octopus is one of the most clever creatures on the whole planet. But if you can play with them, they laugh and they can do lots of things. And I do have to say, Molly, we may be all required to do a reset, to do a rethink on all of this.
Man. So he's been definitely doing his work, right? He's been doing some research. He's watched some documentaries. He's learned that even as far away from likeness to us as you can get, fish, right? Fish is totally unlike any land animal, different, just entirely different world that we could never even imagine. We can't identify with them, which is why people treat them like plants, basically. But even fish, he's realized, even fish have got the things that we value, right? Even fish have this heightened level of intelligence and can suffer and all these things. So I think maybe he's realized that, and then he started to look around at the cows and started to look around at the pigs. And wow, I mean, if the fish have all these things, then so do these guys. And oh my God, and he's had this big awakening, hasn't he? And it's amazing to see that in real time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you think about it, there's this kind of huge disconnect with the fact that Christmas is this time for peace and goodwill, yet we're celebrating with the corpse of a tortured animal in the middle of the table.
Well, hang on a minute. I think torture might be pushing it a bit far. I want to bring Jamie in at this point, because I think if people decide, you know what, I might cut down on my meat consumption or whatever, but Christmas is a feast. It's a time when the family's around, the turkey's a big bird. If you do decide to go down that path, presumably the best way to do it, you would argue, Jamie, is through an independent butcher's, as opposed to somewhere where these birds are mass-produced and housed indoors and have horrible lives.
100%. Now, me personally, and a lot of independent butchers around the country agree, we are against supermarkets. Supermarkets have ruined our industry. It's the supermarkets that's completely made a mockery of what we stand for and what we partly do.
Listen, mate, this is him basically, in my opinion. He's just trying to pull back a bit of business from the supermarkets because he's an independent butcher. We all know that there's really not that much of a difference between the animals. In fact, there's no difference between the animals that you're buying and the animals that the supermarkets buy. Well, does this guy get his animals from some special slaughterhouse where they're killed in some way, where they cuddled to death? Just give them a big hug and they just slowly die. And whereas the supermarkets, they're just really torturing them and they're doing it the horrible way. No, come off it, mate. They're all killing animals with the same methods, right? It's the exact same, regardless of whether they're sold to a supermarket after they've been killed or they're sold to you. Don't be giving us this nonsense.
Days a week for the community in the world. Now, you can't replace a whole turkey with a vegan piece of meat. In another, I'm not going to go down too far with it, but the amount of ingredients and the things that are not good for you in this processed vegan meat, that doesn't taste like turkey, and it doesn't have enough goodness in that.
Goodness. It doesn't have enough goodness. Yeah, you've not really prepped for this one, have you, mate? What a shame. He came from such a good place, and seemed like he was making a connection and having a heartfelt moment, and now he's making some comments about the goodness of a turkey, of a dead animal, of a dead bird, compared to a lack of goodness from a vegan version. Yeah. All right, mate.
Thing that we're inventing to put in people's bodies that's not needed.
The thing is, Jamie, Molly is saying there's no place for a dead animal on the Christmas dinner table. That's what she's saying. And she's not only saying that, but you're saying, Molly, there are alternatives, aren't you, Molly?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
the processed meats are only ever designed to be as healthy as their meat counterparts, but actually in general they are much healthier for you. If you look at Levy's vegan bacon, they supply Burger King and would be great for making some vegan pigs in blankets. They contain a great amount of protein, 7 times less saturated fat than dead pig flesh, half the amount of salt, and also aren't carcinogenic. We know that processed meats are carcinogenic, and that by consuming them you are putting yourself at risk of cancer. And even authorities such as the British Medical Association have said that people consuming diets high in meat and dairy are far much more likely to suffer from heart disease, high blood pressure and diabetes. So
I guess the question kind of ends up being, where do you stop? You know, at Christmas, do we stop wrapping presents in paper and chopping down Christmas trees?
Yes.
Do we stop basically making plastic baubles because it's trashing the planet? I mean, you can basically find a moral argument about anything that we do on Christmas Day.
Yeah, but we're not talking about all those things, are we? We're talking about animals. So what she's trying to do here, it's basically she's trying to call out like hypocrisy. She's trying to say, it's either one or two things. She's trying to say, well, I mean, if you're a vegan at Christmas but you do these things, you're a hypocrite. Or she's trying to say that all the things are bad, everything's bad, so it's futile. which is similar to what a lot of these anti-capitalist idiots say when they come out with things like, oh, you know, well, there's no ethical consumption under capitalism, so nothing really matters. It's kind of like that argument, as if to say, well, listen, if if you buy at Christmas, right? So let's say Christmas, all of Christmas is bad, is what she's saying. So although all these things are causing a problem, so if you choose to not put dead animals at the table, then, I mean, it doesn't mean anything because you bought the plastic bauble. That's what she's trying to say. It's a fallacy. It's a it's illogical, completely illogical, right? Because of course, somebody who buys baubles, plastic baubles, and wraps their presents in paper that can't be recycled, but doesn't put dead animals on the table, is significantly better than someone who puts dead animals on the table and also does those two things, right? Now, obviously, the best scenario in terms of somebody who wants to be good for the planet and also good for animals would be somebody who doesn't put dead animals on the table and somebody who doesn't use or uses plastic, like, I don't know, gets their stuff from a charity shop, right? Instead, right? Or just doesn't use plastic baubles, full stop, whatever. And somebody who also, what was the other thing she said? Oh, yeah, wraps their presents in old newspapers, right? Yeah, they would be ticking more boxes for sure. But it doesn't mean that the one who decides to be vegan at Christmas is useless or worthless, or there's no point, right? That's not how it works. It's not a zero-sum game. So there's multiple different options you could choose here for what she's doing, but ultimately it's a distraction, and she's just trying to say, like, no matter what you do, problems happen, so why bother? That's ultimately what she's trying to do, which is, you know, it's a really, really poor way of trying to get out of doing a good thing.
Or do you say, hang on a minute, it's one day of the year, we're all coming together, let's just be thankful for what we've got and try and be mindful the rest of the year?
Let's just be thankful for what we've got and try and be mindful for the rest of the year. So what she's trying to say now is, well, it's Christmas, so just do a blowout. Just do a blowout. It doesn't matter, it's Christmas. It's just so incredibly selfish because you can still do a blowout. You can still have a big dramatic feast at Christmas, like just craziness, right? And just have loads of food and stuff your face till you feel like you're sick. If you want to do that, I mean, I think it's pretty nasty to do that, to be honest with you. I think you can have a blowout where you don't go overboard, but you can do all of that as a vegan. There's vegan chocolate, there's vegan cakes, there's vegan roasts, there's vegan Yorkshire puddings, there's vegan potato. They're all vegan. Actually, no, they got goose fat, actually, some of them. But there's vegan roast potatoes, right? You can do all the stuff you want to do and have a big blowout, and you can do it all vegan. So the answer to her is yes, have your blowout, right? Just don't stab any animals in the throat. I don't see where the controversy is, or what's such a bad thing to say.
My opinion, I think what we need to do is not be so greedy as a country and a planet, the world we live in,
Agreed.
And reduce the amounts that we are eating. We're definitely overproducing because people are greedy, in my opinion. There is no need. There is definitely no need for the amounts of food we are eating these days.
I agree with him. And you know what's funny is this? What's the co-host's name? I can't remember. Anyway, she's getting put in her place today, right? Eamon's like, shut up. Molly's like, shut up. And now even the butcher's like, hey, shut up. Like, you're wrong. It's a 3-on-1. It's really funny because this is GBNews. So she is actually the right-wing host here. She's the one that's saying, hey, it's tradition. We need to keep our traditions and don't ruin it and just do it as the way it always was. Eamon's like, I'm not going to be a conservative for now. I'm actually going to say we need to change it. She's like, what the hell? Obviously, Molly from PETA's like, we need to change it. Okay. Oh, but the butcher's got my back, right? No. I think we should stop eating so much too. Like, oh God. Okay. Oh man, she's getting it from all angles.
And that's a big problem with what's happening, and it's the repercussions of all of this is leading to arguments like this, sadly.
Jamie, thank you very much indeed for taking part in the argument. Molly, thank you very much indeed for raising awareness whether it should be a meat-free Christmas or not. Thank you very much indeed. Jamie's right about the overeating thing. I mean, I go to when you go to a restaurant, you go to get a pub meal or anything, the plate is piled high, far too much on that plate.
But it's not just eating; it's just we consume too much. I was reading some statistics about something like 80% of the gifts that are given this Christmas will not be used after 6 months.
Absolutely. Rubbish.
Why are we just consuming?
The thing that gets me is, in our house, when I was growing up as a kid, Santa came beautifully. I'd love to know Paul Coyte's take on this. Santa came to our house and he would, brilliant. Santa and his little helpers would assemble your bulldozers and your tanks and everything that you had there. And
yeah, I just want to point something out. After you post-mortem just pointed out, God, the rollback. She did roll back. She was talking about like how we should just go all out, and then when everybody disagreed with her, she came out and was like, "Yeah, I think we do. There's too much consuming at Christmas, right?" Yeah, you change your tune now. The tides change, huh? So funny.
his little helpers would assemble your bulldozers and your tanks and everything that you had there, and he'd put them on top of the box that they came in. And it meant that when we came downstairs at 4 o'clock in the morning, we could just get straight into it, straight into playing.
No.
But all that wrapping rubbish.
Oh, God, I think the sack with the toys in, that's what it was all about.
The toys have to be wrapped in the sack.
I'm afraid so.
No, you see, because I find
it...
if they're wrapped, you then have got to get a screwdriver out, you've got to put batteries in, you've got to...
Too much like hard work.
That's a dad talking, not a kid talking.
As soon as you become a parent, you appreciate this.
That is
all
a
the things
job
that
in
you
our
have to
house,
do.
to be fair.
Because what you want to do at 4 o'clock in the morning, they say, Mummy, Daddy, Santa's been good. You go down and see what he's done for you. Good, good, good. And you don't want to be disturbed then for the next few hours, and that's the way. That's
I'm
the way
excited.
That should be.
Something like 39, 38 sleeps till Christmas, guys. Just FYI.
Well, I'm going to do what Molly suggests. I'm going to go and look for some sort of alternative.
Genuinely?
Yeah, I might go and live somewhere else for Christmas.
Oh.
Like a hotel.
Interesting, huh? So, Eamon, our boy on the right, bringing it home. And it looks like he's having himself a vegan Christmas, which is absolutely banging. And I hope that he continues. He's clearly got a lot of empathy and compassion. He's clearly opened his eyes to the truth of what's happening. Thanks in part to Molly, who did an amazing job. Molly from PETA absolutely smashed it here. Well done, Molly. And also, the butcher kind of was on board with a lot of what they were saying. The only part the butcher actually disagreed with was on the health side of things. But then Molly dealt with that really well and pointed out that these things are just as healthy, if not healthier, than what you're eating already. And they're not supposed to be eaten every single day anyway. They're not things that are supposed to be these meat alternatives. They're not supposed to be part of they're not like a health food, right? These things, they're meant to be more, in my opinion, treated as more like a treat. They've usually got high salt content. They're usually not the best for you in terms of health, but it depends on your lifestyle too. If you're somebody who sits on your arse all day, right, you can't eat that stuff every day. If you're somebody who's training a lot, doing a lot of cardio, lots of exercise, it probably doesn't matter as much. So obviously it depends. But anyway, the health stuff aside, we're talking about purely on the ethics. Seems to me like the butcher was on board with the ethical points, which is absolutely the main point you want to have people on board with. He didn't have any real arguments on the ethical side of things, which was just a complete shocker. Absolute shocker. So who knows? Maybe this is going to become a vegan butcher. Eamon Holmes is going to become a vegan right-wing news host, which would be awesome. I mean, completely unexpected, but that would be amazing to have him repping veganism, or at least the plant-based diet minimum, on GB News, because GB News has some other numpties on that show who definitely are not on board. It'd be great to have a little bit of a balance on that. That'd be really nice. So really cool stuff. We've got some. What did you guys think of that? What did you guys think of that? Give me broccolis in the chat if you enjoyed that segment. And if you think Eamon Holmes is going vegan, throw your broccolis in the chat. Throw your broccolis in there. Let's take a look at what we've got. Hey, by the way, guys, I don't know if... yeah, so Dillian, I see you sent through... Thank you for the Streamlabs tip, mate. It didn't pop up on the screen, though, did it? You want to try... Did you send a Streamlabs tip? Dillian? Did you actually do that? Or am I missing something? Let me make sure it comes through. And if you sent a message, just tell me the message and I'll try and figure out why it didn't pop up. You did send one. Okay. Well, let me know. What did it say? Because for some reason it didn't come up. And I'll read it out, mate. All right? Of course. Let me take a look, though, and see why it didn't come up. I see it here. If tradition is important, then making our traditions right and just should also be important. And I absolutely agree, bro. Let me see if I can make this pop up on the screen. That's why it's being strange, not coming up for me. Come on, let's go. Let's go. All right, I don't know. If when they come through, guys. So it's not they're not for some reason not popping up right here in the screen, but as you can see at the bottom right, your name will pop up. But anyway, when you do that, I will read it out myself, so that it comes up. All right. Or did I turn it off or something? No, it's kind of strange. It's just not popping up. Yeah, but don't worry. I've got them here in front of me, guys. All right. So just to repeat, if you make a Streamlabs tip, it will come up. I will read it. It's going to be in front of me. It just may not pop up on the screen because it looks like there's been like some kind of technical error there. It happens sometimes. Sweet. I saw lots of broccolis anyway. Good that you guys enjoyed that. We got a little bit more to get into today, guys. Don't go anywhere yet. We got some other interesting stuff to check out. So the next thing I want to check out is from Talk TV, actually, which is another one of these kind of right-wing talking commentary stations. I don't know what you would call it, just like a right-wing news station, basically. But this one's going to be significantly worse in terms of meat flakery. I feel like I'm pretty sure this one gets a little bit silly with the the meat flakes and stuff. So it's this one here. So it says, why can't they eat meat? Jeremy blasts vegan activist over banning meat at Warwick University. This guy, by the way, his name's Jeremy Kyle, and I used to have a show here in the UK, right? This guy on the left. And it was the Jeremy Kyle show. And he basically just brought on the just people that were having really, really bad issues in their lives. Most of the time, they were from low-income areas of the UK. So I don't know. I guess you could call it, in the US, they would call it white trash. I don't know what we call it in the UK. But to be honest with you, I don't want to be too mean, because the type of people that would go on there, I mean, I'm from the same place as these people, right? I grew up in welfare estates in England, alongside these types of people, right? So I don't think white trash is the correct term, but just to give you a flavor of the types of people anyway that go on there. And basically they go on there and they'd scream at each other on his show, and he'd be the one just to he'd poke them and make them more angry and stuff. And it's kind of, what do they have? Jerry, do you remember Jerry Springer? Jerry Springer in the USA. It's like that's the English version. The Jeremy Kyle show was the English version of Jerry Springer. So, and he's like a total coward. Whenever anything kicked off on the show, he would be really mean, right? Really angry, really mean to people. And then whenever the people would stand up to go for him and actually go and smack him because he was being mean, he'd just walk away, and then all the security would come in and just block him, because he's just a total coward anyway. So this is a bit about this guy. So the story here is with this guy on the left, is that he talks a big talk, but when push comes to shove, he is a total coward and he just runs away. And you'll see here, I'm sure he's going to talk a big talk here, but in real life, he's an absolute softie. Can't handle it. He can't take the heat of the kitchen. So the story is that this university voted to go plant-based, the university canteen, and they're getting mad about it on the show.
You talk about you being a campaigner. In fact, I read you say that students are generally supportive and understand the urgency of this. Presumably, you're basing that on, I don't know what, but there you are. Your idea, my friend, has two problems. How many people voted for this?
So, Jeremy, I'd like to highlight a key point that you raised there. This is symptomatic of a lack of political engagement at the national stage. And here with our campaign, we've tried to get people politically engaged in student politics.
How many
that's
people
a mirror
voted?
of what's happening
How
on the
many
national
people,
stage.
Vivek, voted to do... Listen, I'm about balance, my friend. You can't be telling me in 2023, when you and your campaigners have left this university, that you have a right... what are we turning into? You can't eat meat.
Jeremy, sorry.
Why can't they eat meat, Vivek?
They can eat meat, just not on the university campus. What an absolute... Is this over-dramatizing it? All they've done is voted to make the university campus itself plant-based, meaning that they are going to only serve in the canteens their plant-based food. That's all it means, right? The University of Warwick, like most universities, has restaurants and pubs all around it where people can go eat whatever the hell they want. Specifically in the university, they voted to make it plant-based. It's not like, you can't eat meat. No, they're just saying the university won't serve it. That's it.
that is false. By next year, we are transitioning to 50% plant-based campus. The students
But
will
what
very much
about
be
the
affected
people
by
who
this change.
disagree, Vivek? What about the meat eaters? I eat meat. Rosie eats meat. What right do you have to impose that on students at Warwick University when only 3% turned out, man?
Impose it. They can leave. They can walk outside. They're not trapped inside the university. It's not like an asylum where they're not allowed to leave and they have to eat what's served. They have complete freedom to do whatever they want and go wherever they want. And this is what I mean about this guy, Jeremy Kyle. He's sat here shouting at the camera, but I'm telling you, he would not do that. He's the type of guy who would only do this and only talk like this in person if the other person was smaller than him or wasn't posing any kind of physical threat, because he's an absolute coward. And it really frustrates me to see him, all sitting there like this, because he really is just like, I have no respect for this guy whatsoever. That's all you need to know. I think he's a laughing stock, but anyway.
So that's the great thing about democracy, Jeremy. People have voted for this, and we have been campaigning intensely over the past many weeks and months to maximize turnout. We've been in the piazza every day from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. during the week of the campaign.
So why did 97% of your university not turn out? Because I take your point, and I'll be honest with you, 3% of your student population turned out, and you got a 52% win. What about the other 97%? Are they too busy doing exams and writing dissertations to avoid this rubbish? Because presumably, if they felt passionate, why didn't they turn up and vote? Because there's more important stuff to do. I don't know. It's ludicrous, man.
Jeremy,
he threw his pen. Look at his face. Look at her face. How are they taking this so seriously? Neither of them goes to this university. Neither of them has any skin in the game. But they're both really angry and really serious about some students that introduced a plant-based canteen at the university, and they're going to have a plant-based university. It is hilarious. I don't know, what do they think is happening? Do they think that the students are literally going to be forced to only eat plant-based and they're not allowed to go anywhere else? Do they think that's what's happening? They just don't have any choice in the matter? Because that's just not what's happening. That would be ridiculous. Yeah. If this Vivek had voted and managed to get it so that students were trapped in the university for 9 hours a day with only plant-based food, I'd empathize here. I'd say, do you know what? I don't think that's right. We're removing people's freedoms from them. You can't trap them and force them like that. I'd say that's not cool. Shouldn't do that, right? I'd be with him. But that is not what's happening whatsoever.
I understand your point, but I'd like to go back to what I said previously, and I'd urge you to listen to what I'm saying as well. We're having a conversation here, right?
Yep.
We are seeing a lack of political engagement on the student campus. That is true. But we are more than welcome. We're welcoming people from everywhere across campus to share their voice, to start this conversation. We welcome the students' input, and if anybody has issues with our campaign, they're more than welcome to raise their issues. This is part of the student vote. Everyone has a voice, and we've been trying to amplify that voice through open conversation, distributing over 1,400 leaflets, having great discussions with people across the university.
Well, I have to applaud Vivek for your success in your campaign.
But 97% of the university couldn't give a damn. Why is that?
Then they can't really complain if they were given the vote. Vivek,
there you go. She gets it. They were given the chance to vote. They didn't turn out to vote. So that's it. That's it. They obviously don't care. So what's the problem? They don't care. Actually, I've never seen a student from any of these universities come onto these shows and complain. It's usually just these boomer hosts that are like complaining on behalf of students who couldn't give less of a shit. They're just out there drinking. They don't care. They're out at the pubs. They're eating whatever the crap they're eating. They're drinking. They're going out clubbing. They're doing all this crap. They don't care about the university canteen. They couldn't care less. It's just one option of about 100 options in the area to eat.
I get that. I do.
Why did you think
there was Jeremy? Sorry, Jeremy. There was ample opportunity for students to vote. This vote was publicized. This vote was transparent. If people have not voted, this is the result.
Mate,
They're more than welcome
I'm with Rosie on that.
To submit a counter
if you've
motion.
got a complaint, you should turn out. My question is
who has got a complaint? Who has got a complaint here? Let's make that clear. If you have a complaint, you're not a student, Jeremy.
No. What I'm saying to you is if the 97% were that passionate, as Rosie quite rightly says, they'd have turned out, right?
Right. Yeah, certainly.
Vivek, what I'm interested in is why it was that you wanted a sort of blanket ban on dairy, meat products. Why it wasn't that
Maybe the campaign instead would be about education so that people could make a choice and say, actually, well, for my diet, I'd like to have some meat, some dairy. It doesn't have to be every single day. And I can make the decision rather than to be told, well, actually, these are the only options available.
I'm biased because, like I said, I really don't like this guy. He really bugs me.
Right, so Rosie, this will take place directly in SU outlets at the university. So students very much have the choice to still eat what they want. And I'd like to emphasize the urgency of this issue, right? We're trying to prevent the climate catastrophe, and we're rapidly approaching the tipping point after which we will not be able to support life on Earth as we know it. We know that animal agriculture is the leading cause of greenhouse gas emissions globally, alongside fossil fuels and transportation, and it's the largest resource inefficiency when it comes to food. So that's why it's important that we take institutional change here at the university, but across universities across the UK, as you rightly noted.
Seven other universities have made this change. Is not to persuade people of that argument, it's just to make the choice for them.
I would say
no, that's not actually what happened at all. Like you said multiple times, they put it out to a vote. People came. A lot of them didn't vote. And so they made the decision based on the people who did vote. There's nothing been forced on anybody. They put it out to everybody and everybody had the option. This was done democratically. You can't, what was he supposed to do? They did everything, he explained, they did everything they possibly could to get people to come and vote. He's done absolutely nothing wrong.
Say this to you, my friend,
That's not true, Rosie.
and I genuinely mean this. I respect your opinion, that you are absolutely right. I can disagree with you. You opened it to a plebiscite, people didn't turn up. Let me read a few comments. Vivek, thank you so much indeed.
Sure.
Liz says, we said, should you be able to force this on people? Liz says, absolutely not. People have a freedom of choice. Ruth says, I respect other people's views and beliefs, but you cannot force a vegan diet on people who don't follow that lifestyle. And
no one is, I'm repeating myself, but no one is forcing anyone to do anything. The university will not offer meat or animal-based options. That's all. It's just not going to be on offer at the university. Nothing's being forced. Nothing's been taken off people. They can still do whatever they want. They just can't get certain things when they're inside the university and on the in the canteens on the campus. It's, oh my Lord.
Catherine, this is forced on people who don't want it. What happened to freedom of choice? Vivek, I'll tell you one thing that might happen. People might not go to your damn university anymore if they can't have a burger or a steak. But there we go. We'll leave it there.
What? It's so embarrassing. This guy. I mean, is this it? Is this what Jeremy Kyle's career has become? Shouting at students over a video chat because he's upset because the students have voted for something that he doesn't agree with. Wow. I mean, what exactly? You need to just have a self-reflective moment and realize what does your life become when you get to that point? What do you actually stand for? Or I mean, is that it? Is that the most important thing happening to you today? Oh my goodness. I got not much more to say about, apart from, well, Vivek, well done, mate. This guy did a great job there. He kept his cool. He made Jeremy look even more silly when he was being very calm as this guy was shouting at him over the camera. Oh, brilliant. So yeah, I don't know Vivek personally. I hope you're a vegan, bro. I hope so. You seem like one anyway. But yeah, good work for this guy. I like this guy. Good work. And good work from the Warwick Vegan and Vegetarian Society. You guys did good. Now, if you thought Jeremy was bad, guys, if you thought this Jeremy Kyle was bad, wait until you see another guy reacting to this video, which we'll go look at now. This guy, his name is Anthony Brian Logan, I think it was. I've just lost him. Yeah, Logan. Somehow, let me just tell you something that's very peculiar about this guy we're about to look at. I'll show you in a minute. So, this guy did a reaction video to that video, and it's so comical that I had to cue this up. We have to have a look at this, right? So, this guy, Anthony Brian Logan, he has 1.2 million subscribers, 1.02 million subscribers, right? It's a lot of subscribers. He posted this video yesterday and it got 8,000 views. About 8,800 views. Okay. Which I find to be very unusual. Gotta say. And looks like he's bought his subscribers and done some paid stuff to get verified. Which that's kind of lame for starters, to be honest with you. I'm not saying my channel is the biggest and most successful on YouTube, but yeah, I don't pay for subscribers or pay. I don't pay what are they called? Publicity companies to get me verification. Because I don't know if you guys know this, but just on a side note here, if you have enough money, you can get a lot of subscribers and you can get your YouTube verified pretty quickly and easily. Do you want me to tell you about that? Give me some broccolis if you'd like to know more about that. Or if you don't give me broccolis, then I'll jump back into the video. But it's totally possible and it's feasible to do it, and I believe this guy's done that, which is already just a bit lame. But so we'll watch this anyway. Already off to a bad start with the with the terrible ratio there, but it's gonna get worse. Okay, I see broccoli's coming in. I'll quickly explain that. All right, I'll be very brief with this, but basically all you can do is these publicity companies, you can pay one of them a lot of money on a monthly basis, and what they'll do is they've got connections so that they can get you published in online popular online places such as Forbes, such as I don't know, other big famous magazines. They can get you these little opinion pieces and stuff, so it makes you look really credible, makes you look like you're some kind of person, like some kind of celebrity, and then that they can show that to YouTube. And then YouTube looks at that, checks it all out and goes, oh, this person is someone, like somebody who should be verified. And then you get the verification. And that's how it works on other social media platforms too. They want to see proof that you've been in some articles and that you have an established name, basically. And to get an established name, you just need money. You just need money. You can do it organically by actually being good at what you do. And people will come to you eventually and ask you for interviews and stuff. Or you can throw thousands of dollars out into the world, and then you can just have these opportunities open up to you, regardless of whether you're actually any good or not. So that's how that works. And I think that's what this guy's done. At least maybe anyway. It looks like that to me. So yeah, there you go. That's how that works. Right, let's have a watch at this then of this then. Students at Warwick University in the UK forced to go vegan.
So a UK university went vegan to end the quote-unquote climate crisis. Let's talk about it. Got to talk about a UK university going vegan for
Why does he say vegan like that? That's funny.
A variety of reasons, I suppose. But the main thing that they want to push is they want to have a hand in ending the climate crisis. Now, this is Warwick University, and I tell you what, I don't want to go there. If I was to live on campus, which I never lived on campus at a college, but...
How old are you, dude? You're like 50. What would you be going to Warwick University for? You're 50 in America. So yeah, I mean, I don't think they're looking for you at this point to come over and start university anyway, mate.
If I was to live on campus and the food there was all vegan, it's like, what are we doing? Where's the beef? Can I get a piece of fish? Can I get a piece of chicken? Can I get a hamburger?
So that, okay, just needs to establish what it means to be not vegan. In case anybody was wondering what it means to be non-vegan, right? Now we know what it means when he's saying that he would like the canteen to not be vegan. In case you couldn't follow what that meant, he's now put it down very, very clearly so we all understand what he would want from a canteen, and it's not vegan. What he wants, okay? I don't know. I'm just making sure we all got. Did you get that? I got that. I'm just making sure you got that. I think we're all in the same position now. We all understand that what this guy wants are things that are not vegan at his imaginary campus that he's not living at and won't be living at anytime soon because he's in his 50s and isn't a student at any university in the world. But just so we're all clear, that's where we're at.
What's going on? This is not my thing. Now,
I didn't get that. I'm really, really glad that he established that bit there as well, that it's not his thing. Because, you know, from the bit before, I wasn't quite tracking, but now I'm fully on, but I fully get it. And I fully get it now.
This was voted on because I know somebody's going to say in the comments, what ABL, they voted for it. Well, yes, but no. The turnout for this vote was only 2.7% of the student body. Okay, so let me just pull up an article right quick. Then we're going to get into a video of an activist talking about this. you see the headline, "Where's the beef? Vegan diet to be imposed on Warwick University students after vote banning meat and dairy products."
Imposed. It's being imposed on them. They don't have a choice of what to eat. They're forced.
Now, only 2.7% of the 28,600 students voted in favor. So that's 774 students out of 28,600. And the people that did show up, it was a slim margin of victory, 52%. So just barely. I guess that's democracy, right? Where you could say, all right, you could have 5 guys show up and the 3 guys say yay, 2 guys say nay, then they can decide for 100,000 people if they're going to have beef or not.
Yeah, that is how democracy works. If you're given the option to turn up and you don't turn up, and the people who do turn up vote something that you didn't agree with, but it's too late, that is democracy. You had the option to come and vote. You had the option to contest it. You chose not to contest it. I don't get I don't, how is this a criticism of democracy? It's not like these students couldn't make it to the vote or something. It was on the campus grounds. They were all there. They just chose to not bother.
This is ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. Now, before I go any further into...
Hey, here's a question. Right? Anthony, you numpty. If they'd have voted the other way, would you be upset? If they'd have voted the other way, if it were only 2.7% of people came out, right? Only 774 students came. And of that 774 students, they ended up voting 52% to have more meat on the campus, right? Would you be sat here saying, well, this is absolutely ridiculous. This is not democracy. There's 100,000 students or whatever there. How can they be? They shouldn't be forced to have more meat on campus. You know, this is ridiculous. If only 5 people turn up and 3 of them vote for more. Yeah, I'm sure, mate. I'm sure you'd be equally annoyed at that outcome, right? Yeah, sure. For those missing the sarcasm here, this is where the meat eaters' hypocrisy comes out. Here he is sat here criticizing the democratic process here because not enough people turned out. But if it had gone in his favor in something he wanted, he would never, ever think about criticizing how this method played out. What he's doing is, a lot of people do this when it comes to vegan stuff. They act like they're some kind of moral authority and this is wrong and this is why it's wrong and the way it's been done is wrong. But when you just break through that, realistically, all they're saying is, I don't like the way this went. I don't like the outcome. I want people to keep on eating meat. I don't agree with veganism. They don't actually care about whether it was done fairly or not. It's just annoying him because it's not what he wants. It's similar, guys. I'm going to do a video about this, but it's similar with religious people, right? What religious people do, a lot of religious people do, they say, my book, my text says that this is okay. That's why I do it. But that's not true. It's the other way around. They want to do it, and they try to use the religious text, the religious book, to justify it. It's not that the book, they do it because the book says so. It's that they want to do it, so they use the book to try and back them up, right? So my point being here is don't fall for people when, oh, this democratic process is wrong, or you know, my way of living is based on a book and it says this. It's just all excuses. It comes down to their selfishness. That's all it comes down to at the end of the day. So there you go, guys. I hope that comparison made sense. It made sense in my head, but you'll see. I'm doing a video about this soon. I'm going to do a video specifically about Christianity. And it's because it's Christmas coming up, and I'm going to call this one out. It's going to be a rant for Christians, and it's just going to be a straight up rant down the camera, probably about 4 minutes, and I'm just going to post it and see what happens. But that's coming up, and probably in the next week.
To it, let's check out a video here. You see the young man on the right-hand side? He is an activist, I suppose, who supports the measure, and we're going to hear from the anchors over here who are not really for this whole thing. I think they're going to pretty much be my spirit animal. But if you want to see this video in full without my commentary, link, as always, will be in the description. If you're on IG, visit the link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Going to speed this up and then
you
slow it down when it starts
talk about you
talking.
being a campaigner. In fact, I read you say that students are generally supportive and understand the urgency of this. Presumably, you're basing that on, I don't know what, but there you are. Your idea, my friend, has 2 problems. How many people voted for this?
That right there is the $1 trillion question.
That right there is $1 trillion question. Let's pause him here.
And I showed you guys the numbers. Now, let's see what he answers. Let's see how he answers or if he answers at all.
So, Jeremy.
Yeah, I'm going to have to keep on going, speeding up, slowing down on this. Here we go.
I'd like to highlight a key point that you raised there. This is symptomatic of a lack of political engagement at the national stage. And here with our...
By the way, his name is Vivek. So shout out to Vivek Ramaswamy. His name is Vivek Venkatram.
Campaign, we've tried to get people politically engaged in student politics.
How many
that's a mirror
people
of what's
voted?
happening
How many
on the national
people,
stage.
Vivek, voted to do... Listen, I'm about balance, my friend. You can't be telling me in 2023, when you and your campaigners have left
so
this
funny.
university, that you have a right. What are we turning into? You
Jeremy,
can't eat meat.
Jeremy, sorry.
Why
Yeah, for real though. I mean, what's going on? And my man, I want you to answer the question. How many students actually voted in favor of this to ban meat and dairy products from the campus?
You know what's funny? I just had another moment of realization where we've got the right-wing news channel covering this and Jeremy Kyle covering this. And then now this guy covering this as if it's a topic to be covered. Is just a university making university choices for that don't even affect anyone. They barely affect anyone in the university. Why is this such a topic of consideration for anybody apart from the people who are at the university who don't actually care, because it really doesn't impact them either? It's just a hilarious situation.
eat meat, Vivek?
That is false. By next year, we are transitioning to 50% plant-based campus. Students
But
will
what
very much
about
be
the people
affected
who
by this change.
disagree, Vivek? What about the meat eaters? I eat meat. Rosie eats meat. What right do you have to impose that on students at Warwick University when only 3% turned out, man?
So you see the subhead right here. This is funny. Let us be vegan. 3 Warwick sites are required to go plant-based by 2027.
So that's the great thing about democracy, Jeremy. People have voted for this, and we have been campaigning intensely over the past many weeks and months to maximize turnout. We've been in the piazza every day from 11 a.m.
So
to
why
6
did
p.m. during the week of the campaign.
97% of your university not turn out? Because I take your point, and I'll be honest with you, 3% of your student population turned out, and you got a 52% win. What about the other 97%? Are they too busy doing exams and writing dissertations to avoid this rubbish? Because presumably, if they felt passionate, why didn't they turn up and vote? Because there's more important stuff to do. I don't know.
I agree 100%. And the thing about it, I don't think a thing like this should be able to be voted on. I don't think so.
I don't think a thing like this should be available to be voted on. Wow. Okay. So you're a dictator then. So the guy's wearing the guy's wearing a hat that says 1984, which I'm assuming is a nod to the book 1984, right? Right. So you guys know what that is, right? I assume that's why he's wearing it anyway. So if you don't know what that's about, it's George Orwell. It's a book about a future where there is no democracy. Basically, everyone is just, I suppose, well, I don't know, how do I put this into just simplistic terms? Basically, the world is just screwed. The people who are in power constantly manipulating and lying to the public to make them believe things and just do as they're told, but actually giving them some kind of fake. They feel like they're free in some ways, but they're not actually free, and it's all complete control. And it's all, you need to watch it or read it, watch the movie or read the book anyway. So this guy's wearing that hat, suggesting that he's against that kind of dictatorship and against that kind of government control, and he's against this kind of thing, right? Okay, nice. He's just sat here and said this shouldn't be voted on. So he's sat here and said on this topic he wants 1984, and this topic he wants someone to just be a dictator and just make this decision on behalf of thousands of people. He doesn't want a vote. He doesn't want democracy. Oh, brilliant. You couldn't write this.
What if there was a vote that says, okay, we're going to lock everybody up in their dorm room at 8 o'clock and you can't go anywhere and you got to put on the mask and we're going to weld you in?
How is that the same? How is that anything the same? Oh my God, man. It's no wonder this guy's got 1 million subscribers and 8,000 views when he talks this kind of nonsense on his channel. So, okay, let's just get this clear, right? Let's just get this clear, right? We got, on the one hand, right, a vote to make a university plant-based, meaning the canteens just will only serve plant-based food. He's comparing that to the other hand, which is, well, what if they did a vote which they have to lock people in their dorms at 8 p.m. and force them to wear masks? Wait, what? The vote to make the canteen plant-based doesn't have to impact anybody because nobody has to eat there. Whereas the other thing you mentioned, they absolutely have to do. You're saying we'll force you to go to your dorm and we will force you to put something on your face. These are two, they could not be more distinctly different if you tried. You top class melon.
All right. And then, yeah, we had to vote. We had 5 guys that showed up and 3 said yay, 2 said nay. So the rest of you guys, all 30,000 of you, must be just held to whatever those 3 guys voted on. That's ridiculous. It's totally ridiculous.
Ludicrous.
No, the only thing that's ridiculous is what you just said. Oh my God, man, that is absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I've got nothing more to say on what he just said. I just think it is very, very funny. That is. Oh, sorry guys, we go back.
So at UK University.
Oh my goodness, where were we? I got so flabbergasted.
Eat meat, Vivek.
That is false. By net.
Wait, where were we to?
Are required to go plant-based by
University not turn. You got a 52% win. What about the other 97%? Are they too busy doing exams and writing dissertations to avoid this rubbish? Because presumably, if they felt passionate, why didn't they turn up and vote? Because there's more important stuff to do. I don't know.
I agree 100%. And the thing about it, I don't think a thing like this should be going anywhere. And 2 said nay, so it's ridiculous.
Ludicrous, man.
Here.
Jeremy, I understand your point, but I'd like to go back to what I said previously, and I'd urge you to listen to what I'm saying as well. We're having a conversation here, right?
Yep.
We are seeing a lack of political engagement on the student campus. That is true. But we are more than welcome. We're welcoming people from everywhere across campus to share their voice, to start this conversation. We welcome the students' input, and if anybody has issues with our campaign, they're more than welcome to raise their issues. You know, this is part of the student vote. Everyone has a voice, and we've been trying to amplify that voice through open conversation, distributing over 1,400 leaflets.
1,000 flyers, really? That's nothing. Back in my day, I'm old man shaking that cloud. Back in my day, 1,000 flyers, that's nothing. I used to be printing out 5,000 and 10,000. Like with club guys when they're trying to promote a party, just to promote a party. Like, let's just talk about this right quick, because I know a little bit about this. I know.
Really? You know a bit about this? So let's, again, so the guy's making another comparison. So the student who's trying to get people to vote at his university did 1,000 flyers, right? This guy's saying, well, I used to work for clubs and parties and we printed off 5,000 to 10,000 flyers. Could you guys have a guess about what maybe the reason for that disparity is between the amount of flyers printed? Could you guys maybe take a guess at why maybe there's a difference there? Why were there 5,000 to 10,000 flyers printed off for parties and clubs and only 1,000 for a vote at a university? Yeah, we'll give you guys a couple of minutes to figure that one out, right? I'm sure you're gonna get it because it's so bloody obvious. Because one of these things has a lot of money. The other one doesn't. One of these things stands to make a lot of money from the flyering. The other one doesn't. Meaning you will absolutely print 5,000 to 10,000 flyers to promote your club, because if 5,000 to 10,000 people show up at your club, you're making a boat ton of money. Whereas if you're a student and you want people to make a vote at your university, firstly, you're getting no funding for it. Secondly, you get nothing for those flyers apart from somebody coming in and doing a vote. You make no money from it. So it's just pure money put in and you're not getting any of that money back. So that could possibly be the reason that this Vivek, this poor student, only printed 1,000 flyers. Oh my Lord. Again, Anthony, Brian, Logan, bro. I don't know what's going on. Maybe this was just a bad day for you, but this is some real slow stuff we've got going on right now.
A teeny bit about marketing and flyers and things of this nature. I did that for about 10 years of my life. When club guys would throw parties back in the day before Instagram became very popular, they would print out club flyers. They still kind of do it now, but it's not like the way it was back in my day. It was something. I would be doing a gang run twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week, but different story. I'm going down memory lane. Anyway, guys would come into the shop and get at minimum 5,000 flyers, for one party, for one weekend. And if they had a bunch of parties, they might get 15,000, 10,000 flyers.
Yeah.
Okay. So 1,000 flyers, that's enough to reach 28,000 people. And these parties, you might have 200 people in the club, maybe 300 in the club with 5,000 flyers. So obviously your little campaign you're talking about, it wasn't very good. And then also, how did the leaflets look? Can we get a preview what was going on? And then again, we're talking about 5,000 flyers to go to a party, something you can volunteer to go to or not. It's not going to be, okay, if you don't go to the party, then you'll have some legal restrictions put on you. You guys talking about a thing
There's no legal restrictions put on you if you don't. No one's putting. Oh my God! Let's see what he thinks is happening.
Affected the diets of the people on campus.
No, he's not affecting the diets of the people on the campus. Oh my Lord, I can't. Do they actually believe? I mean, I'm sorry. Look, listen. I'm just gonna come put it out there, right? If anyone truly believes that what's happening is this person here Vivek has held a vote to determine what people are absolutely going to eat from now on. Is that what they think? That they think he is literally determining what people's diets are? Is that why they're all having this big reaction? Do they not understand how they actually believe this is happening? Because if they do believe that this is what is happening, I'm just going to have to say it. I'm just going to have to put it as real. You are stupid if you believe that's what's happening. You are actually not a smart individual, and you need to give your head a shake and stop letting sensationalist news stories and headlines govern what you believe or don't believe. You need to start actually looking into the things that people tell you and people show you. Because in today's world, right, ignorance is absolutely a choice. Stupidity is a choice. You can go off saying dumb shit like this guy is saying, or like Jeremy Kyle was saying, or you can spend 5 minutes looking into things and be somebody who has the minimal level of knowledge it takes to comment on these topics, right? It's really not rocket science to figure this one out, is it? This is one of the most simple situations you'll ever come across. And I tell you guys, I'm worried about the future. I truly am worried about the future of news and of knowledge and of information, because my God, it really is going through the floor right now. Critical thinking is absolutely non-existent in most people. And now you've got people, thankfully, this guy has 1.02 million subscribers. Thankfully, it doesn't matter because hardly anyone's watching his videos, which is absolutely a good thing. But imagine he might have had 500,000 people watching this video. Can you imagine 500,000 people getting given information that's wrong by him confidently? Oh, just what a world.
This is crazy. I didn't sign up for that. Not at all. That shouldn't even be a thing you can vote on. That's like voting on whether you must use calculators or you can't use calculators. If I go to a school and I sign up and I pay my money and I anticipate using the calculator, all of a sudden I get there and two guys said, well, now you got to use the calculator. See, this is too much. This is part of the reason why I left college.
The thing is, with calculators, what does that even mean? Who uses a calculator these days anyway? We have calculators on our phones. But anyway, it's so silly. If you joined a university with the intention of using a calculator, and then they said we don't do calculators anymore because they were voted out. Okay, don't go to that university then. What is going on?
Little games like this used to get played. I didn't like it, but let's keep on going.
This is mind-blowing.
Great discussions with people across the university.
Well, I have to applaud Vivek for your success in your campaign.
But 97% of the university couldn't give a damn. What is that?
Then they can't really complain if they were given the vote. Vivek, the question would be, why did you think it was...
Jeremy, Jeremy, there was ample opportunity for students to vote. This vote was publicized, this vote was transparent. If people have not voted, this is the result.
Mate, I'm with Rosie on that. If you've got a complaint, you should turn out. My question is
who has got a complaint? Who's got a complaint here? Let's make that clear. If you have a complaint, you're not a student, Jeremy.
No. What I'm saying to you is,
I think that people are not going to like it because even the people that showed up, it was only 50-50. It wasn't just this majority.
It wasn't 50-50. It was 52-48. That is literally, that is just objectively not 50-50. If 52% of people vote for something, then that is a vote for the thing. If it was 0.5%, it's still a vote for the thing. It's the scale of the thing, the scale of whether it was like 70-30 or whether it was 51-49 doesn't matter. This is how it works. You can do it if you really have a big enough issue with it, you think there was some mistakes, you can do a recount or you can do a revote, right? But ultimately, if it's 52-48, then that's the way it went down.
So don't do that. The people that cared to show up, you barely won out of those people. So I'm willing to think that, let's just say this 2.7% population slice represents the entire university, which I doubt that it does. But if it doesn't, but if it does, that means half of the campus did not like the measure. You see what I'm saying? So
no, I don't see what you're saying. It wasn't half. It was under half. That's why the vote was accepted and went through, and that's why they're doing plant-based campus.
Power shouldn't have been in the hands of these people to do this at all. I'll leave this interview right here. I won't play the
power shouldn't have been in these people's hands to do this at all. Why not? There is nothing. This decision can impact nobody. People can choose to go elsewhere. There's no impact here of this. Nobody is forced to do anything.
Entire thing. Shout out to Talk TV. I'll link to that in the box. But I'm gonna just close with this.
Yeah, go on. I'm waiting. I'm excited for this genius. Let's go.
Vegan, trying to save the planet for what? First of all, it's pretty arrogant for you to think that you could just control the weather by eating a soy burger rather than a hamburger. That's ridiculous. And then also, you're talking about,
and that's called a straw man. I would be surprised if any plant-based dieter out there is eating a plant-based diet in an attempt to control the weather. I don't think they think by eating a plant-based diet that there's going to be no more tornadoes or flooding. If they do think that, then I would advise them to maybe, I don't know, have a bit of a harder think about that. But from my understanding, people who eat plant-based for environmental reasons, it's mostly about greenhouse gases and pollution and water usage and land usage. It's not just one individual thing. It's actually a lot of different things together is the reason that people who eat plant-based for the environment, that's why they do it, right? So that's a straw man right away. He's just created an argument that doesn't exist. Like I said, as far as I'm aware, I've never met a plant-based dieter who goes, I eat beans because I want the weather. I'm controlling the weather with beans. That's not happening.
About the environment, things that harm the environment. A lot of these green energy people, vegans who go vegan for the purpose of saving the environment, they don't understand the thing that they do and how it impacts the environment. Speaking about green energy, okay, you got your Teslas, you got your Ford Lightnings or whatever. If you have that vehicle, I'm no hater. Congrats. You bought a thing that was on the market. But if you are saying that I must buy those vehicles because we're trying to save the planet, I can't tell. You know how much digging it takes to get just one lithium ion battery? You're talking about 500,000 pounds of rock. You're talking about all kind of dirty methods. You're talking about child labor in Africa to get these rare earth minerals, which, by the way, are 90% owned by the Chinese Communist Party. Real talk.
What has any of this got to do? He's got onto cars now. What has this got to do with people eating a plant-based diet? That's what I want to know. Hopefully he's going to bring that back unless he's just gone on a tangent.
And then you're talking about going vegan. Do you know the damage that agriculture does to this world? Do you know?
Yes. That's why people eat plant-based, because agriculture, specifically animal agriculture, is a massive drain on the world's resources. And the plants grown for the animals in animal agriculture are also a massive drain on the world's resources and an absolute misuse of resources. That's why a lot of people eat plant-based for those reasons. But of course, as you all know, you are vegan for ethical reasons. Veganism is about animals. It's about being against animal abuse and being against violence to animals. That's what veganism is about. Now, what this guy is referring to here is plant-based for the environment. A lot of people eat a plant-based diet because they care about the environment. They aren't necessarily vegan. For example, like somebody might eat plant-based but go to the zoo or go to some circus with animals, right? Because plant-based diet does not require them to be against those things. Somebody might be eating a plant-based diet and believe that it's okay to go and, I don't know, go to run with the bulls in Spain. They eat plant-based for the planet, for the environment, or for their health, but then they don't care about that kind of stuff because it's not ethical veganism. It's not vegan. I guess, well, if you didn't know that, you know that now.
You know that a lot of deserts all over this world were created as a result of agriculture because you keep going back to that soil over and over again. At a certain point, you can't go to it anymore. You having droughts. You having overly cultivated lands.
Hold up a minute. Did he just say you're having droughts? Did he just... Wait a minute. Earlier on, he said people think they can change the weather with their diets. But then he's just said that agriculture causes droughts. Oh, that's interesting. It's almost like he is saying that certain diets could impact the weather and therefore either cause a drought or not cause a drought. Interesting how that works, huh? This guy is literally all over the place. But as it happens anyway, guys, life has a price, right? And living on this earth comes with a price. Any resource you use comes with a price. A price to the environment, a price to the animals that live here with us, a price to the humans that live here with us. It all comes with a price. Animal agriculture has the highest price of all of these things. When it comes to animals, the highest price. It needs their lives. It abuses them and takes their lives. Comes to the planet, again, highest price. When it comes to people's health, we're seeing more and more evidence that it also can cost the highest price there as well. Plant-based diet is a significantly lower price. It's not perfect, and it definitely doesn't come without its issues too, right? But it's significantly better than an animal-based diet on these things. So when he sat here saying all this stuff about the cost of different products, and he's totally right, but it's not an argument against a plant-based diet. It's acknowledging that even if you eat plant-based, you still have a lot of issues to contend with. And we do have a lot of issues to contend with even as eating a plant-based diet, in terms of whether you want to be good for the environment, whether you want to eat well for your health, whether you want to eat in a way that's good for the animals. You still have to consider that even when eating plant-based. Of course. But the first thing, the priority we all need to look at focusing on before we even get to solving those issues is the 99% of people that still eat the animal-based diets, because that is significantly worse than the ones eating plant-based, even though plant-based comes with its issues, right? So, yeah, it's not rocket science, this stuff. And this bit that I just explained there, though, to be fair, I understand why people don't think about it that way. The media and the way things are, people are conditioned to look the other way when it comes to this stuff and just to blindly defend themselves. So this is more of this is why activists exist, is to try to bridge these gaps and connect these dots. But on the other stuff he was going off about, the university stuff, there's no excuse for what he was saying there. That was absolutely ridiculous. But let's see what else he's got to say in this last minute.
Now you get sand, now you get desert. Places that used to be lush and green and beautiful are now just piles of sand with no moisture. Okay, so if you're going vegan just because you want to go vegan and you just want to have a different diet, then go for it. But if your thought process is, I'm saving the planet, don't hold your breath. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And
so it's really funny. It's the source. Trust me, bro. So he's trying to say there is no difference whatsoever between eating animal products and an animal-based diet and eating plant-based when it comes to environmental impact. He's trying to make that claim. But that claim is completely against basically every major bit of science and bit of research that's been done on this topic, right? So he's just outright wrong. And that's not, look, the environmental stuff, as you know, this is not my forte. This is not the area I focus on. I'm a vegan for animals. I'm a vegan because I don't think it's right to be violent to animals and to abuse animals and to kill them for burgers and use their bodies and do all these horrible things to them because they're little individuals. They are, well, not always little, but they're individuals. They are each, there's a person inside each one of them. There's a personality inside each one of them. And I think we should do everything we possibly can to avoid harming them and killing them. And the first step to doing that is eating plant-based. And it's one of the many steps, but the biggest step is eating plant-based. But anyway, with that being said, he's still wrong on the environmental stuff anyway. Even though that's not even the area I focus on, he's still wrong.
And what say you? What's your thought process on what my man was saying about the vote and you should have showed up and all this and that? What's your take on veganism saving the planet? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. Number one, there shouldn't have been a vote to do this at all. Okay, I go to college, I sign up. I want to eat whatever I want to eat on the campus. I'm paying my tuition. Okay, if I want to get a hamburger, cool. A soy burger, cool. Whatever I want, that's what I should be able to get.
But you don't get it. You pay your tuition. You don't get food included. So it's literally just a restaurant that's part of the university. If you don't like what they serve, go somewhere else, man. You're like a man-child.
I signed up for it. Don't have me go to a place and then change the rules halfway through the thing. I don't want that. Now I got to transfer, do my credits transfer. Where am I going to go? How much is it going to cost? You're just doing too much. You're inconveniencing me. You're like people that lay on the ground on the highway to protest whatever you want to protest. It's like, sir, I got to get to work. You need to get out the way.
It's so funny. And again, the guy wearing the 1984 hat, meaning that he is, well, I don't know. It's kind of confusing. He's got the 1984 hat on, but he's also got the American flag in the background. So are you for or against government overreach, right? Are you proud of, are you like, yeah, go government, yeah? Or are you not? Because the people he's just talked about there, about how they protest and stuff, they are protesting the government. They're protesting the government and the bad decisions the government's been making, decisions that go against average people, decisions that, for example, the government in a lot of the West, the governments in a lot of the West have acknowledged, right, that there are issues with the environment, with our air quality, with the pollution levels and stuff like that. They've acknowledged that this exists. So what have they done? They've tried throwing it on the consumer. They've tried to put in new regulations on where you can drive and when you can drive there and try and make you pay for that. They've tried putting regulations on the cars you can buy and making you tick loads of boxes, jump through red tape on cars. They're trying to put extra taxes on stuff. They're trying to introduce the social credit systems in some places and trying to introduce like carbon taxes and things like that. So you get carbon points. You can't drive certain days of the week. You can drive, you can't take flights if you've got too many carbon points, all this kind of crap. They're trying to put all this on the individual, on us, the individual, the public, right? Instead of putting it on the monstrous corporations that do the most, that produce the most pollution, not the individuals. Because if you can just make the massive corporations that provide all of these services more environmentally friendly, then you'll automatically fix the issue with the consumers, right? So the Just Stop Oil and those guys, they are protesting the government to say, hey, stop putting this on your average the average people who, by the way, most of these measures will impact the poorest people in society first and the most, because the poorest people in society won't be able to afford to pay all these different taxes and all this different crap, right? So instead of putting it on us and stop putting these people through all this crap, go to the billionaires and the millionaires who own these companies and make their companies more environmentally friendly. That's what the Just Stop Oil and the Extinction Rebellion people are doing. They're trying to change things from the top down. But here's this guy complaining about them. But you said you don't want 1984. Well, like, this is the opposite. The opposite. Letting the government continue to put more and more restrictions on us, the public, because of the planet, though, that is 1984. That is literally letting it happen. That is letting it become an Orwellian future. So this guy is a complete and utter hypocrite, and he's full of it. If he actually is wearing that hat because he's a fan of that, or the book, and he's actually against that happening to us, he would be protests against the government doing what they're doing to us, but he's not. So he's a hypocrite on many accounts, but on that one too. Anyway, guys, this is not a channel where we talk about environmental stuff very often, and I hate to get all conspiratorial. Is it conspiratorial with you guys? Whatever. We're here for animals. We're an animal ethics channel. We're a vegan channel, of course. It just really bugs me when people like this come along and start, chatting that nonsense. And he's supposed to be for the people and for freedom, and yet he's trying to speak against people who are actually trying to keep people free and stop governments from putting all this crap on us. Like, it doesn't make any bloody sense to me. Anyway, so that was fun. Bloody hell. So we've got some other stuff to have a little look at. And actually, let's switch it up and move away from a news thing, because we've done a couple news things. Let's have a look at one of Earthling Ed's latest videos, which was, Are Vegans Too Woke? Which I watched a little bit of, and I thought, oh yeah, this is fun. This is an interesting video. We should watch this together. This is Earthling Ed, who's coming out swinging in this video, by the way. Just absolutely coming out, fists up. He's just ready to go, and it's swinging out there. This is the Earthling Ed I like, by the way. This is my favorite version of Ed. So let's get into this. It's called Are Vegans Too Woke? And to be honest with you, I was disappointed in that it's not been one of his top videos, which is sad. It would have been really nice if this one took off a little bit more, but unfortunately it didn't. But we're going to give it some time, right? We're going to have a look at it. And I think from what I saw the first half of it. I thought it's a great video. Let's have a look.
Vegan bacon and vegetarian lasagna. Welcome to hell.
I don't know if you're all aware, but vegans, well, they're just a bunch of woke snowflakes. Veganism has unfortunately been branded as woke, although nowadays it does seem nigh on impossible for anything to avoid being branded as such. But is this a fair criticism of veganism? Hey everyone, I'm just jumping in briefly to tell you all about PETA and so countries guarantee. These words don't act supposed to be now. Let's get back to the video at hand. Now, terms like woke and snowflake are supposed to be a jibe at how vegans are overly sensitive and socially conscious. But
meat flake, you know, and snowflake is so last year, right? You know, we're all about the meat flakes here, aren't we?
These words don't actually say anything about the validity of the movement or ethical position itself. In essence, they're a non-argument. In fact, by using the word woke to tarnish veganism, people are merely using thought-terminating cliche. If you say the reason you don't want to go vegan is because it's woke, that doesn't actually mean anything. It's a perfect example of the ad hominem fallacy, which occurs when someone attacks the character of a person making an argument instead of confronting the argument itself. It's basically the way out of an argument when you have nothing intelligent or credible to say.
Agree. I think if it's just being used as that way. So, for example, if you just say, "Oh, I don't like that thing; it's too woke," then it's a bit of a cop-out. I think it's important to explain what you mean by that and why you don't appreciate it, why it is woke, and what woke actually means. I think these things are really important. So, for me, for example, how would I define woke? I would define it as it's usually trying to appeal to some kind of standard. It's usually involved virtue signaling, some kind of it's trying to appeal to what it thinks people want, right? Which is not necessarily what people want, but we've all been conditioned to think it's the good thing. I think I had a really good definition for it and it's gone now. I had a definition back in a couple of weeks ago or months ago with George in a video, but it was something along those lines. So basically, trying to appeal to what people perceive to be as good, but is not necessarily good. It's only what is being pushed as good, and it usually is contrary to reality and contrary to what is objectively correct. Something along those lines. So when people say veganism is woke, they're putting it in the same boat as some other things that are considered to be woke for the same reason. So, for example, you could say, okay, here's a good example. Christmas advertisements here in the UK, right? Here we go. I'm going to put woke into context here, and then explain why veganism doesn't count as this. So, woke in the UK, what I would say, when I come back to the UK, especially around Christmas, there's lots of Christmas ads and there's lots of ads around. And what I see a lot of is couples on the Christmas ads or on general TV ads. One member of the couple is usually white and one of the couple is usually black or brown or basically just not white, right? And it seems to me like a good 7 out of 10 ads on TV are this. It's a biracial couple with I suppose mixed race kids. And if you only watched English TV and the ads, you would imagine that the whole of England is made up of couples that are in this situation. The reality is that is absolutely not the case at all. It is not representative of this country and how people are in this country whatsoever. So I think it's around 80-something% of England of the UK is white. And then after that, I think then it's people of like Pakistani origin and Indian origin. And I think black people make up like 3% of the population here. And it tends to be that, I don't know what the word is it homogenous? So white people tend to date white people, black people tend to date black people, Pakistani people tend to date Pakistani people. And that's just kind of how it goes. I think that's how it goes in most of the world on an average, and normally. But the woke part, now here's where the woke part comes in. The woke part comes in where these advertisers think that people want to see this. They think this is something that is good. It's good for us to see a couple where one is white and one is black, because that is what apparently is the perceived good way to be, right? That's where it's woke, because it makes no sense at all, but it's a pathetic attempt at showing, look, our product is diverse, and look at this couple that is diverse. And it's like, well, no, that's just woke nonsense. The only reason you're doing that, it doesn't represent the population. It doesn't appeal to practically anybody, but people are told that this is good, this is right, this diversity is good. So then they think, oh, I might buy that thing, right? At least a certain percentage of the population. So that's how I would define woke. It's like kind of appealing to this thing that they think people want, but actually they don't want, and it's just some kind of like indoctrination that people are being indoctrinated to think that this is good when actually it doesn't matter, and it's not the reality. So that's where I would kind of explain what woke is. Now, here's why veganism doesn't fall into this, right? It doesn't make sense that veganism falls into a branding of wokeness, because veganism is literally just based on the fact of the matter that animals exist and they have personalities and they feel pain and they look after their families and they have all these things that we value about ourselves, and they are like us in that they don't want to be hurt, they don't want to be stabbed or abused and violated, mutilated and killed. And the beauty of it all is we don't have to. So being a vegan or telling people why they absolutely should go vegan, that's not woke, because it's based in reality. The reality is that you can eat a plant-based diet. The reality is that if you care about animals, you shouldn't be eating them. That's just reality that is objectively true. So there's nothing woke about it. But unfortunately, it gets thrown in with this diversity stuff and all these types of things. It gets thrown in with that because they think it's all connected. They think that all vegans are on board with all the woke stuff and it's all connected and we're all the same. And we're all just delusional. We're all out of touch with reality. And it really bugs me because it is just not the case whatsoever. The reason people go vegan is because they get in touch with reality. It's because they actually face up to the truth. They look at it dead in the eye. They look these animals dead in the eye and say, wow, I've tried to ignore the truth for so long and now I'm facing up to it, and that's why I'm vegan. So, yeah. So it's the complete polar opposite of wokeness, being vegan.
And outside of the fact that the term woke has become a weaponized word that shuts down meaningful debate, there's no logic to what is branded in this reductive way. Is being against the slaughter of dogs at the Yulin Dog Meat Festival also woke virtue signaling? What about being against trophy hunting or eating animals while they're still alive, as is often done with some marine animals?
Absolutely, and that's a really good point that Ed points that out. Yeah, is it woke to be against killing dogs and eating them? No, of course not. So why is it woke to be against killing turkeys and eating them? Don't know. And by the way, guys, I tried to define, in my opinion, what woke was there and gave you an example and stuff like that. But to be clear, I used to use the word a lot in the past, but I feel like it's a bit hack. I feel like it's a bit overused. I agree with Ed when he said that everything seems to be getting that brand. And I agree, it's overused. These days, I personally, if I have an issue with something, I'll explain what the issue is and why I find it to be annoying or whatever, as opposed to just giving it the woke label. I don't really use that word in general conversation anymore, and I don't really use it in videos either. You might have noticed I've stopped doing that. I think there's more value in, like Ed's saying here, getting into the details, and actually figuring out where the issue is.
And if these things aren't examples of woke virtue signaling, well, why is opposing pigs being forced into gas chambers, or male chicks being macerated alive, or cows being forcibly penetrated? If the word woke is used to describe something as being bad, and if veganism is fundamentally about reducing animal exploitation, suffering, and harm, are we saying that reducing animal suffering, exploitation, harm is bad? If I don't kick a dog, am I a woke virtue signaler? And if not, why am I a woke virtue signaler if I don't want pigs to be gassed to death? It's nothing short of outrageous that trying to reduce suffering, harm, and the sexual exploitation of animals is being branded as if it's something negative. And this is a part of the problem. People who attempt to discredit veganism by calling it woke are viewing veganism as being about vegans. They are caricaturing us in a certain way to make being vegan seem disagreeable or not something that they would personally want to do. This is just another form of identity politics, though. These people don't want to have to deal with the fact that they are responsible for the most severe and prevalent forms of animal suffering and cruelty on the planet.
It is absolutely that. And they're calling something woke without actually explaining your issue with it is a really easy way to just get away with not thinking about something critically and simply just branding it as a thing and then just trying to move on because you feel bad or you feel guilty about it and don't want to. And so he's absolutely right with that.
So instead, they remove the animals from the equation, create an image of veganism that they personally find off-putting, and then label veganism as being woke.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they do this a lot. They talk about the vegan teacher. They talk about people that they don't like, vegans they don't like, and they use that as an excuse to not take vegans seriously without realizing that that's like meeting a Chinese person and they were rude, and you say, oh well, screw all Chinese people because that one person I didn't get on with. It's a very weird conclusion to make. There are many vegans in the world, and they're all different, and some of them might be not your cup of tea. But that doesn't mean you just dismiss everything they stand for. Like with the person from China, you're going to just dismiss anything that any Chinese person says simply because they are Chinese, because they got that one bad experience with one Chinese person. It doesn't make any bloody sense, right?
Animal cruelty is not a woke issue, and nor do people who use this word critically claim that it is. I mean, nobody is rallying against woke laws that make kicking dogs immoral because causing harm to animals is sick and is not an example of a crusade against woke authoritarianism. The problem is that people live hypocritically and don't realize that if kicking an animal is wrong, well, mutilating them and cutting their throats must obviously be wrong as well. But instead of acknowledging this clear contradiction, people would rather mask their cognitive dissonance by turning into GBNews zombies whose only response to anything that requires critical thinking is to shout woke repeatedly like a malfunctioning record.
Apart from Eamon Holmes, who is a GBNews host, right? Who actually looks like he might be going vegan. So Ed, come on, man. You need to update your stuff. You need to do a video about Eamon. Actually, I probably should do a video about Eamon, like an actual standalone video about Eamon. But I think if Ed did it, it would get a lot further. So Ed, should definitely do a video about Eamon Holmes.
Now, I've got viewers and listeners who are vegan and they love it. No problem. If that is your choice, go for it. But in time, I fear it's the authorities that will be choosing what we all eat. And it will be soya, burgers, vegan bacon, and vegetarian lasagna. Welcome to hell.
And aside from being irrelevant and riddled with contradiction, it's simply not accurate to tar all vegans with the same brush. Being vegan is not a monolithic experience. You don't have to be left-wing to be vegan. You don't even have to technically like animals to be vegan. You just have to recognize that it's wrong and unethical to unnecessarily hurt, exploit, and kill somebody.
Did I just hear Ed say, you don't have to be left-wing to be vegan? Oh my God. This is going to break the vegan world. People do not like hearing that. At least some specific vegans don't like hearing that. They seem to believe that to be a vegan, you need to have agreement on every single political issue. And if you don't, then you're not welcome. But here's Ed saying the absolute truth that your political leanings ultimately don't really matter. You can be against the exploitation of animals despite your opinions on other topics and other political topics. Isn't that the most controversial thing I think Ed's ever said? But it shouldn't be, should it? It shouldn't be controversial to say that anybody, anywhere in the world, no matter what else they believe, can be a vegan, right?
That's why there are vegans from all over the political spectrum, including vegan conservatives and vegan libertarians. And there's even a subgroup of the UK's Conservative Party called Vegan Conservatives. But since many right-wingers are at war with political correctness, labelling vegans as woke is a convenient way to bypass meaningful debate by feeding into the so-called political correctness gone mad narrative.
That is something absolutely that they like to do. They rage bait. A lot of conservatives and right-wingers, they do a lot of rage baiting. Oh, it's gone mad. These people are trying to ban this, and they're trying to ban that, and they're trying to do this, and they're crazy, and It's how they get their clicks up, unfortunately. But in recent times, we've seen more people on the right-leaning side of the spectrum, the conservative side of the spectrum. We just saw Eamon Holmes in today's video being very, very, very vegan-friendly. You saw my recent debate that I did on the Lotus Eaters podcast. Guys, that's there on my channel right now. I went on a very, very staunchly right-wing podcast to debate veganism, and we, of course, didn't agree, but he was incredibly open and understanding And I think there is a future there for Josh, his name is. I think I put him down as a pre-vegan. He's definitely a lot more reasonable than most non-vegans I've dealt with, and he seems like he would be somebody who would be vegan in the future. And he's, like I said, this is a very staunchly right-wing podcast. I also did a debate with Charlie Veach. You guys know of him. I would put him in the, I suppose, conservative side of things. He's definitely more on that side of things than he is the other side. And again, we started off badly. He was a troll, but by the end, we realized that he does care about animals and that he has a lot of empathy. And again, somebody who I'd put in the bucket of potentially vegan one day. And so there is, what my point is here is that, yes, conservatives and right-wing people have definitely been bad towards vegans for a very long time. But I sense a little bit of a change, a little bit of a tides maybe turning a little bit, especially as more of us vegans are, well, if the more vegans that we have that are more appealing to people in that world, the more people in that world will take us seriously. For example, it's highly unlikely that people in that world are going to take somebody with bright blue hair, piercings all over their face, seriously, just based on appearance. Unfortunately, right, appearances makes a lot of difference to these days. They also probably wouldn't take somebody seriously who has some very, very strong opinions on other topics that they have significant disagreements on. So, you know, it's about how much, the more that a vegan aligns with them on other stuff and is appealing to them in terms of how they dress and the style, the more that these influencers in this world are going to pay attention and listen and take vegans more seriously. So, and this, I think this is happening more and more now, which is why we're seeing a couple like Eamon Holmes, and why we're seeing a couple of others taking veganism more seriously. Because unfortunately, the messenger is as important as the message, right?
But veganism is not a product of political correctness. It is the realization that animals deserve to be factored into our moral calculus. So how about, instead of reductively labeling something so that we can then justify why we don't like it, we actually take important ideas and have meaningful, intellectually sincere and genuine conversations about them so that we can work together to make the world a better place. Or we could just continue this culture wars madness and continue our spiraling decline into the abyss. I find this argument to be pathetic, nonsensical, and to be frank, cowardly. If you think that calling
Eddie's going out, I told you he was coming out swinging,
something woke is a genuine rebuttal or attempt at rational discourse, then that's an indictment of your critical faculties, not veganism.
In our universities, there are a certain group of people who would try and influence and indoctrinate our young people. And this happened with my son about 10 years ago. He went to uni, he went to Sheffield.
Yeah, go on.
And I didn't see him for months. He came back, you know, many, many months later, and he came back different. He got long hair, he got a beard, his clothes were different, a different attitude, different outlook on life. And I thought, my goodness, Harry, what's happened to you? He says, Dad, he sat down with me on the settee, he put his arm on my hand. He says, Dad, I've been away for a few months now, and I've come back, and I'm not the Harry that went away all those months ago. I'm different now. I'm a different person. I've found out who I actually am. And he held my hand, looked into my eyes and says, Dad, I've got to tell you something about myself. He says, I am. And I thought, Harry, just get on with it. You know, you're my son. I love you, whatever you are. He says, Dad, I'm a vegetarian. Shocking. Absolute shocking. Let that be a warning to you.
Oh my God, that is so funny. Oh, God, it must have been terrible living with him as your dad. That the poor guy, God, he must have felt liberated when he went to university and he could finally just be himself, grow his hair out, grow a beard, change the way he lives, change his lifestyle, try and be the person he's wanted to be for so long. But his dad has clearly been on his back. You know, I imagine this dad's the kind of dad that's been getting him up at 5 a.m, making him do chores, you know, make his bed, scrub his boots, all this kind of army style crap. I reckon that's the kind of guy this guy was. And the second this kid's gone to university, he's gone, oh man, I can finally just be who I want to be. I can just finally, if that's legit, if that wasn't a joke, that is, let's be real. I mean, this guy didn't come across as a comedian, so I don't know. But wow, if that's real, oh, I feel so bad for that guy. The student, obviously not the dad, but hey, that was funny.
Guys, that brings us to the end of the video. Now, if you'd like to hear more of my opinions and views on right-wing and left-wing and political arguments against veganism in general, then make sure to check out my new book, How to Argue with the Meat Eater and Win Every Time, which is available for pre-ordering now. In that book, I address all the different arguments against veganism, including the right-wing arguments that I used. So
that's really interesting. I'm honestly surprised and impressed that Ed has got waded into these waters, because to be totally honest with you, I know a lot of vegans and a lot of activists don't get into this stuff because they're frankly scared of the reactions of other vegans, because there are, unfortunately, guys, a lot of vegans out there who are not at all open-minded when it comes to people's political opinions. In fact, they're extremely closed-minded. In fact, there are a lot of vegans out there who will actively stop you from going to their events if you express a political opinion that they don't agree with, and they'll try and make your life a living hell. Unfortunately, these are a minority of people. These are a minority of vegans. But when people complain about wokeness and the woke mafias and all the people trying to get people fired, trying to get people cancelled, trying to get people banned off social media, trying to do all this stuff, stop people from speaking at universities, stop people from having events in certain venues, stop comedians from doing the stand-up at venues, the venues banning comedians because of pressure from these people. Unfortunately, society has this issue, right, with these people causing all these problems, these woke morons, you could call them, or whatever you want to call them these days, whatever. The vegan world has that issue too. And again, it's a minority that is very loud. So I'm impressed that Ed has gone out on a whim here. Oh, no, it's not on a whim, obviously, he's thought about it thoroughly, but I'm impressed that he's gone out and started to speak about this, because you really do put a target on your back when you go out and say things like that right-wingers can be vegan and stuff for these people. They do go to great lengths to try to cancel people and I guess curse them out and stuff like that, as they do in the wider society as well. Whenever a comedian makes a risky joke, there's a certain group of people that comes out, tries to ruin their life. So yeah, impressed with Ed. Good video there, and agree with everything he said. Vegans are definitely not falling into the category of woke, however you define it. It is negative. I know a lot of people are trying to reclaim it, make it positive. It's negative. We just need to accept that. There's no reclaiming it, in my opinion. You could say vegans we have our eyes open. We're not blind. We see reality and we trying to do something about it. Whereas you hide behind lies. Most people just hide behind a veil of ignorance and take all the lies from the meat and dairy industries and the animal agriculture industries. I think that's what's happening. And vegans, we open our eyes to it, which is originally what woke used to mean. What woke used to mean, seeing through the BS and facing reality and doing something about it. But it's not what it means anymore. It's definitely an insult now, and it's pejorative, and I think that's just the way it is. So yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed today. I think we're going to wrap it up there. Great work from all the vegans and the activists involved in all the videos that we've watched today. It's been great seeing so many good performances and good, I don't know if performances is the word, but you represented veganism very well, and getting out there and saying what needs to be said on these shows and putting your face out there, putting your neck out there. I absolutely appreciate that. Anyone who puts their neck out for animals and puts their head out there and puts a target on their back is a legend in my book. So these people are all absolute legends. Guys, if you enjoy the videos, and you want some exclusive stuff, I've got a load of very interesting videos that you can only get if you join the YouTube membership team or the Patreon team. I've got exclusive interviews that you haven't seen because they're only available there. I've got behind the scenes of a debate that I recently had, which I think is pretty cool. You get behind the scenes content too. And I've got more to come. There'll be more full length interviews there. There's going to be more behind the scenes there. We're already getting all this going. So it's a very exciting time to join the team. And of course, the main reason to join the team is that you're supporting my work and you're helping me do more of what we're doing today. More work for animals, raising more awareness and getting more people to pay attention, and of course raising more awareness of some of the great people out there doing this hard work for them, which I've got a lot of cool ideas for some of the smaller channels out there doing animal activism, bringing them to the forefront and all this kind of stuff coming up as well. So it's very exciting times, guys. Of course, there'll be some kind of Christmas thing coming up as well. We'll do some kind of Christmas live stream, some Christmassy videos. I've got a couple of ideas for those coming up, guys, so stay tuned for that. And enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Okay, guys, keep being the absolute legends you all are. I'll catch you all in the next one.